Another week in the books. What do you got?
I got this girl who's a swimmer, right? I don't know if it's the same one that was in the news a while ago for being like a trans swimmer.
I heard about this. Yes, it was.
Crushing every record.
Yeah, she was ranked. As a man, they were ranked, I think, like 200 in like all the swimmers or some shit. Switches over to women, number 1. An easy win. But yeah, we're planning on going downtown today.
Yeah, a little coordination involved.
Coordinating right now. We're in a time crunch.
I don't know if I have enough time.
I don't know if we're going to have enough time.
No, so I don't know if this is the same girl, but there's a trans swimmer on the team. And then this other girl on the team, I guess, came out. I don't know what the headline was. It was like, teammate blasts her. So I didn't read the article. I read the headline. So maybe it's not that bad, but they're painting her as bad because they're like, she blasted her. But the only thing that I can see is in quotes is she was so well endowed, I had to refrain from looking. Which,
really?
What
a big hog.
What an interesting dynamic. Like, on top of everything else, where it's like, this person's coming in, like, they're the best one on the team now, and this is bullshit, and da-da-da-da-da. And then sprinkle on top, little icing on top, it's like, holy hell!
This person's fucking hung!
Yeah, like...
Holy... They're hung like Bert Kreischer.
That was crazy.
Jesus. That's funny. I saw a funny meme. It was like, yeah, I was going for another world record, but unfortunately my testicles slipped out of my bathing suit and caused drag, and I slowed me down.
See, that's a fair argument. It's like they have more stuff.
Yeah.
No, I guess girls have boobs, though. It's probably
more drag.
weight.
More drag. Well, no, because you're top heavy. You float. They're like built-in floaties.
Yeah, that's fair.
Buoyancy. They keep you up. Well, a man,
a
muscular.
dick's like a rudder, though.
A dick is like a rudder.
When you're moving at high speeds, as a man can.
Like Michael Phelps,
yes.
Obviously, yes.
No, but...
You also have more muscle tone, which makes you sink.
Yeah. You also have...
You ever see swimmers just jacked?
I never thought my aunt randomly, her daughter got into swimming like around that time, and so then
our
she
old
became
fat
an
boss
expert.
was a swimmer.
Oh yeah, that's right, allegedly. But she was like, "You have a swimmer's body," and I was like, "Excuse me?"
You're slender.
No,
sleek.
She means you have a big fucking torso.
Really?
Yeah. She goes, "Oh, because you have big lungs, I guess."
Oh, that makes sense.
Because that's how Michael Phelps is. He's just like a big ass torso and like long arms.
Apparently, he's got webbed feet.
Well, I don't know about that.
I hear he's got webbed feet. I'd look it up, but you can't, which is something. Michael Phelps, what happened to him?
I always remember him putting his gold medals in a piranha tank, and I remember being like, just breaks.
Breaks the tank.
Yeah. Takes the medals.
Fucking loser. Michael Phelps. I was never a big Phelps guy. I never liked the Olympics, to be honest with you. I think it's gay.
I like the idea of it, but every Olympics I've seen in like my lifetime doesn't seem to convey any of the coolness that
every time like you hear about the Olympics, it's like, oh yes, best of the, and it is like they're very athletic people, but
I appreciate like
I don't give a fuck.
I like that you can see like the same way YouTube lets you see all these like weird people that have like a special talent or whatever.
Yeah.
I like seeing like how good a human could get at each, like you just spend all your time over here or over here. You can fucking get, so that aspect is cool to me. I also like the idea of like, even though all these countries are like mean to each other, this is like sanctioned meanness. It's like respectful meanness.
Yeah.
So many cool things about it. It's ancient, fucking started with wrestling. Like, it's awesome. But then,
Roman
at this point,
Greco.
it's just fucking sponsorship dollars. It's just like Nike and fucking politics.
Nike made the Olympic suits this year.
The last cool thing was probably when...
North Korea and South Korea united under Korea.
When did that happen?
Didn't that happen last Olympics?
I don't think so. Oh, to let like some of their athletes in, they like...
I think I just said Korea. We're playing as Korea.
I don't know if that's true.
I think that's true.
Maybe look that up.
I'm going to look it up.
No. That'd be crazy. Oh, but the last cool thing that happened was when we used to send our college kids over to play basketball, and some other country finally fucking beat them. So then we were like, all right, and just fucking assembled an assassination squad.
What was that? The Dream Team?
Dream team.
Who was on that? Jordan?
That was like right as Bird and Magic were on their way out, and MJ was like cementing his status as the best. It's them fucking when your worst player on the team is Chris Mullin, who's a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Isaiah Thomas, Ray's friend, didn't get on the team because Jordan and Magic were like, nah.
Really?
It's behind the scenes strings pulled to keep Isaiah Thomas off the team.
Why is that? They didn't like Isaiah Thomas.
I remember Jordan not liking him for good reason, but I remember what Magic's thing was, because Magic and him were friends. So I don't remember what their turning point was. But, yeah, what's the answer to your thing?
In 2018, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and Republic of Korea made history by entering a unified team into the women's ice hockey competition.
Ice hockey from the Congo.
Yeah.
Good for them.
At the Olympic Games.
Those are some crazy odds to beat.
What?
Ice skating in the Congo?
Congo.
What did the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Isn't that what it is?
Democratic Republic of Korea.
Oh, we've been playing so much geography.
We've been really on that, yeah. No.
Is that what their name is? The Democratic Republic?
That's what North Korea's name is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Maybe that's South Korea. Republic of Korea might be the North Korea. No, Democratic People's Republic of Korea is North Korea. The DPR, the DPR okay, obviously. You fucking moron.
You uncultured swine.
Yeah, you bitch. Korea. Would you go to North Korea? Would you go to Korea in general?
South Korea, sure.
That'd be interesting.
I don't really feel the need to.
Yeah. There's nothing really there that does it for me. Like Japan, I feel like would have some cool shit. China, I feel like would have maybe a lot of poverty, but probably some cool shit.
They wouldn't let us see any of the cool shit.
That's what I mean. That's the other thing too. Because like I wouldn't mind flying over like a work camp or like, you know, just a tour of a work camp. I don't know. Something.
That's like,
show me something behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
That's like if
something
you were
good.
Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a tour of the plantation. Like,
yeah, like I'll like just if it's like historical. Like
I'm not gonna order them around, but
no, I'm
I'd
not
like
gonna
to see how it's done.
I'm not gonna yell at someone.
I want to see how they make the hot dog.
Obviously. Gimme. My man. I wonder if what's his face ever saw. Who's the basketball player that went over
Dennis
there?
Rodman.
I wonder if he saw any work camps. Yo, Kim.
I don't think they're hiding them, right?
Kim a cool guy. I don't think there's like videos of him though.
Well, yeah, they're not promoting
like a
it,
death
but I think
camp.
if you're there though, when you're only getting what they show you.
Well,
it's
no.
one thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm sure he's getting like a curated tour of Korea.
Yeah. But at this point, they're bros.
Yeah, they're bros. They know it. That's fucked up.
You think Rodman is like
Gay?
He's definitely something when it comes to any of that. But
Sucks a little dick.
I would think.
Fuck it.
You're
You're Dennis Rodman.
But like, do you think when he goes over there and they like throw all the girls at him, do you think he's just like, these aren't slaves? Like, do you think he has to like talk it out of his head, or does that not even come up to him? Because he is kind of like crazy enough where it might not occur to him.
That doesn't even occur to him.
Yeah.
He goes over there and he's like, wow, they're like showing me all.
The king handpicked these girls for me. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's like handpicked them from the slaves.
Yeah.
Like
from his fuck part. Dude,
Yeah.
apparently he travels around with just like women he just fucks.
I mean, if you're the God King, wouldn't you?
I guess that's true.
And when you're the God King in your own, it's not even like you did the Roman thing where you know you're a fucking dude
Yeah.
and you got everyone like you think you're the God King.
You think like, damn, like I'm it.
You were born into that shit.
That's crazy. You know, apparently that's why China is they really like Korea because it makes China look good. Because Korea is so bad. North Korea.
I could see that.
North Korea is so bad that China's like, no. Keep them around. Here's money. We're gonna fund you. We're gonna fund you. It's fine. Because apparently, if China cut off support, North Korea would be done in like weeks. Like they don't. Like all their money goes towards weapons and like WMDs and all that shit. How are we looking? Is he going downtown?
He threw out there that he would just come here straight away, and then we could do the museum a different day or whatever. But I also think that the museum's hours were weird, so I don't know. I'm just telling him either. I'm like, we could do the aquarium today. We could still do the museum a different day if you wanted to.
Yeah. At that point, you could do the art museum.
So I'm saying we could do the aquarium today and then still do that museum another day because it didn't work out today.
Hey, who knows? I don't know if we're going to have enough time. We're having fun. New camera. People are looking good.
Oh, we didn't do the clap before.
We didn't do the clap. 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
I'm still hung up on the one thing. Like, imagine if you're in the locker room and you see like a fat ass and you're like, what the fuck? And then it turns around and it's a dude and you're like, holy, like, and then you got to go compete. Like this girl was like trying to get psyched up and then there was just like
a dick,
a thing she wants to fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
I don't think women have the same mentality a man has though. Of like when you see like I feel like
true.
I feel like if we're
it's
walking
still off-putting though. Yeah. Even if it was a vagina that I wasn't attracted to, it's still like jarring to see in where the last place you'd expect to see it.
But I feel like a man goes caveman when like a fat ass comes in. It's like,
sure.
When like a woman, I feel like, I mean, maybe if like some fucking chiseled dude comes in, like fucking washboard at cum gutters.
I just, I don't know. I feel like it'd be so fucking jarring. Not like she's gonna drop everything to go fuck them. I'm just saying
like just off-putting.
The thing that
it would take you out of
it touches that part of your brain when everything else is geared up to like fucking I'm gonna go smoke these bitches.
Because that's the other thing too. It's like you're in the locker room, so you're changing with all these women. Well, how's that work? You just be butt ass naked? You get a shower together? Like what the fuck?
I think that's what Jordan Peterson got in trouble for. Because he said that's what like most trans people are. They're like perverts who just want.
Really?
Or a lot, maybe. Maybe he didn't say most. But he said something related to that, I remember.
That's wild.
It seems like a lot of work and money, though, just to be able to play with your own tits and stuff. Like,
yeah, there's got to be something else there. Like something else.
Seems like a very easy answer. For like a guy who's that smart, that seems like a very like dude at the work site.
I feel like I can come up with that answer. Yeah. Like we can go, oh, well, that's just a pervert with tits.
That's literally from Scooby-Doo, the live action movie, when Shaggy and Daphne switch, and he's like, all right, Scoob.
All right, Scoob. I didn't know there was a difference between transgender and transsexual.
What is it?
Did you know that?
I didn't.
Allie was explaining this to me. There's a riff in the trans community, apparently. This is what I'm hearing. Apparently, so you have transgender, right? This is a person who we'll go male to female, just for this example. This is like if I decided I was like I feel like I'm a female, right? Shave the beard, whatever. I don't really alter much about me.
Oh.
I just kind of wear, like, maybe I wear, like, yoga pants or something or, like, whatever. But then I'm using women's bathrooms.
Crop tops.
I'm doing crop tops. I'm wearing, like, I look like just a gay dude at that point. But I identify as a woman, so don't fuck me over. And I'm going into, like, women's bathrooms. I'm using the women's locker room.
There's no surgeries or nothing.
There's no surgeries. You're not on hormones. You're not really doing any of that shit. Transsexual is when you get to surgeries, like Allie. Allie's transsexual. She
did the surgery.
You did the surgeries. You're going through the process, like you see this person evolve almost.
But isn't gender and sex?
That's different, right? Right? Or is it the same? I don't know.
I don't know. Is sex supposed to be like
Gender's like
what you're identifying as?
gender's like fluid, apparently.
And then sexual's like which
That's
part
like
do you have?
biological, I think.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give
Maybe.
him that.
Or no, still not though. Right? Because if you still got the hardware but you did the surgeries, biologically you're still.
How do you have the hardware if you did the surgery?
If you didn't get the full, if you didn't ship it to Shanghai yet.
You got boobs.
If you got boobs, you've been on hormones, you're getting like some other shit going on.
But haven't sent it to Shanghai.
Yeah. You're still transsexual.
Yeah.
Because you appear as a woman. Because that's how you feel. But is that, I don't know. What's the difference between gender and sex? These are interesting questions. We should get a trans person on here.
Questions from like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but we don't pay attention to that shit. Now I want to know. Now I'm curious.
Well, now that shit's...
Now it's our turn to learn.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us. People. What's wrong with you, man?
Let's hit up Chappelle. He likes talking about trans.
Yeah, no, he hates it. I guess he did for the last 4 specials.
Yeah, it's dumb. I love how people simultaneously, when Chappelle got on Netflix, everyone who didn't watch the Chappelle show but heard people reference it were like, oh my God, yeah, I liked it. It was really funny. Everyone at work were like, oh my God, yeah, it was really funny. And then 2 seconds later, they were like, oh, I hate him because of what he said about trans. And it's like, you could have just been...
You could just not said anything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if your own fucking urge to be like, yeah, I like what you guys like, didn't kick in, you would have never signed up for a guy that, if you actually did watch it and listen, you would have realized, like, oh, you don't have the same... Not to mention it's a fucking joke, so, like, you're still not getting it, but if that's how you're going to fucking feel, like, maybe give it more than, like, the first 5 minutes of one special out of 7.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Start with the first ones. Watch the first ones. That's prime. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind his new specials, though. You didn't like them.
I like the first one.
Which one was that?
I don't know. The first one that hit Netflix, where it had been forever. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And then the other fucking 3 were him just being like, man,
oh man. Y'all fucked up for this one.
Y'all ever see someone smoke before? And it's like, awesome. Like, that's so rad.
Dave Chappelle smoking a cigarette, a vape on stage.
Yeah. It's like,
vape
it's cooler when you could get in trouble for it. It's not as cool when you have enough money to just pay the fine or, like, no one's going to give a shit. It's just like, wow, you're really addicted to that thing, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, they're good. I fucking love them. Jake Paul beat Nate Diaz.
Anyone could have predicted.
A crazy turn of events.
No.
In sports news.
Nope.
Insane. Who's he fighting next? Anybody's guess. He's really a toss-up.
Gives a fuck.
No, it's crazy what they're doing in the combat community.
It's crazy how you could just take steroids and have it not matter.
Pay the best people.
Yeah. Someone was like, say what you want about Jake Paul, but his first 5 fights are way harder than your favorite fighter's first 5 fights. I guarantee you that. And it's like, yeah, all my favorite fighters boxed to get out of poverty. Like, they didn't start as a rich man paying people. Like, why in the fuck would they be fighting retired MMA? Like, it's such a bad point to make.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit.
Because it's also not even fucking true to be like, he fought like all these combat sports out. And it's like, yeah, dudes that never boxed. You could have fucking, I know I've made this point 1,000 times, but like, you could have fucking decent hands in MMA because someone's like, is he about to take me down? Like, when Tyron Woodley throws hands at you, the whole thing is like, is that a right hand or is it a takedown? Like, that's the wrestler move. Overhand right into a takedown. You take the takedown away, he does not know how to box. His footwork is not boxing. His footwork is hands into a takedown. Just because you're punching doesn't make it boxing.
Yeah.
It's a very upsetting point that gets missed.
Well, aren't all those exhibition fights rigged? Didn't you say that? Did you make that point?
I know they have contracts that, I guess not rigged, but because
I mean, what isn't rigged? But
boxing in its entirety is a fucking
sham.
half-rigged job. So, like,
I feel like I'm under the impression all sports are. I feel like it's all bullshit.
other people constantly make the point that, like, basketball and football are scripted. I don't know enough about it to know for sure. I know literally in basketball, there was a scandal that who knows how big it was, but they only got one guy to take the fall for it, where he wasn't saying he was a referee who...
I heard about this. The refs were throwing games.
Yeah, but it was like... He was saying he could just kind of, like, influence it here and there. Like, he could never do anything so egregious. It's not like all of a sudden you could just fucking foul. All right, he's out. You know, like... He just kind of...
Just give it a push in the right direction.
Nudge here and there. But, bro, my dad always used to say when I was a kid how Vegas... Every fucking NBA game, they have the over-under correct.
Really?
He's like, it's rare that they're off by, like, more than a point or something. Like, it's odd how good how accurate they are consistently. Which
is like, if that's where all the money's going to, and if, like, this whole thing is just about making money, that would make sense that it would just be on like that.
And, I mean, people already make the comparison of, like, it's like soap operas for dudes or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, I guess WWE specifically is, but, like, you still get caught up in the storylines and stuff and, like, oh, he's playing against his former team, or, like, oh, these teams are rivals.
His former teammate.
Yeah.
Brothers, but on opposite team. They did that on the last Super Bowl. There's brothers on either side of the team.
Oh, they love that.
A mom is split between.
Then it's also
and
like...
then it shows a mom with, like, a half a jersey, like, two jerseys.
Woo! Yeah, I'm sure
my kids are shit rich!
I'm sure she's in a tough spot. Yeah,
like, the fuck?
Cashing checks.
I love watching...
I just don't know who to root for.
I love watching sports, and you're like, all these people are just millionaires. All these people just have more money than fucking God.
Dude, I've seen it
to
so
get
many
paid
times
to
in
fucking
basketball.
swing a bat.
Well, we're like a kid's outstanding in college and stuff, and then they get paid, and then they're mediocre. And it's like, they didn't stop being a fucking super athlete. They didn't stop knowing how to play basketball. It's like, why the fuck would I go be in the gym for 6 hours when I could be in my mansion fucking...
My model. Fucking
anyone.
Yeah, like, what the fuck's it matter? Like,
yeah.
No. I fucking hate sports.
That's why I really only watch fighting. I like basketball when, like, good shit's happening, but, like, I can't keep up with it as far as...
It's too much. It's too much shit. It's too much bullshit. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's just like...
I watching just good highlights where I'm like, wow, that was a good play.
I like watching feats of, like human... Like, I like watching, like, a dude fucking dunk on... Or, like, just, like, someone dribble the ball, in, like, beautifully up a court and, like, get through 7 people. It's like, yeah, that's beautiful. But I can't give a fuck. I mean, it's crazy. What's Nico doing?
We've said the same plan back and forth 7 times, and I'm confused now.
Really?
Or not, I'm getting agitated. Like, yes.
Tell him we'll order pizza if he comes here. No, it's disgusting. Hell of a pod this week.
You gonna do money talk?
Yeah. I'm gonna find my thing. I am the alpha. All right, we're gonna talk about money. Good shit. Son of a bitch. Here we go. You people at home, all you new subscribers, this isn't usually what it's like. Start up a little PowerPoint. Get my shit ready. This is gonna be nice. This is gonna be nice. This is gonna be good. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this little presentation I set up. A whole lot going on here. It's good. Boom. Bing. Bing. Bang. Boom. It's my tools. Everything I need. And we're gonna get in the nitty-gritty here. On the Stoned 8 podcast. New name coming soon. Because money is really just a sham. It's all fake. It's all bullshit. And we're back.
I want eggs.
Is this okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's getting the full screen? Okay, cool. All right. You want eggs?
Yeah.
Like an egg sandwich? From where?
Nowhere.
Nice. You're goddamn right. McDonald's egg sandwich? Yeah. Well. All right, we're going to talk about money. We got some key players here, Chief. We're talking about the Treasury. We got the Federal Reserve. We got the bankers. We got the IRS. And we got you fucking sand monkey.
It's casual how you said that.
That's what they are. Sand, what do they call sand people?
A key difference.
But what we've learned from Mandalorian and Boba is that they're actually civilized people. They're not animals.
Which is why
what we like.
Confused.
Now let's go into why does the government have to print more money? And that's because it all starts with deficit spending, Zach. Okay? Is Miko coming down here or what?
Like I said, we've said the same fucking thing 10 times, Mike. We can either go to the aquarium today, or you can come here, and we'll go to the museum and or aquarium another day. And then we've repeated that 4 fucking times.
Send him the train schedule.
He's just circling back again. He goes, how would I get to you? I'm like, the train. The thing you suggested to me mere moments ago.
Say Metro to Joliet. Go to the LaSalle Street station.
LaSalle Street?
Go to LaSalle Street station. Take that to Joliet. You could send him the train schedule. This is crazy. A lot of moves happening. Said the same thing 7 fucking times.
Yeah.
But anyways. So what it all starts with is deficit spending. This is when the government spends more money than it has. So basically the politician gets in there and they go, hey, I'm going to promise you X, Y, Z. We don't have the money to do that because our country doesn't make enough money through import and exports and all that bullshit. We don't make enough money, so therefore to do that we have to print bonds. So the Treasury prints bonds. Doing so, they raise the national debt because that's all our national debt is a reflection of the bonds. And that's what that is. We're going to move on. Every so often, what the Treasury does is after they print these bonds, right? So they're printing these bonds. We'll call this a bond. They're printing these things. They hold Treasury auctions. This is when big banks can go in there and they bid on these bonds, right? And they buy these bonds. This happens very often, right? So these select big banks go there and they buy these Treasury bonds, which are just IOUs for currency, and they take them to the Federal Reserve, and they sell them to the Federal Reserve. So now the Federal Reserve holds them, and they give them cash. Because whenever the Federal Reserve writes a check, it comes out of an account with nothing, and money is created out of thin air. That's how the Federal Reserve works. So cash, they get cash. The big banks get cash. They then take the cash that they got from selling the bonds.
When does this start? In the 50s?
This all starts in 1937, I think, or 19.
Is it post World War II or
It's post Great Depression, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because the whole thing was like we
Didn't it have to do with bankers coming over here though, from Europe.
A lot of it had to do with like international bankers. I know with like because they
they've
like
been,
them
like,
like
pushing-
the Morgans and like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds like
Everyone had been pushing for like a Federal Reserve type thing
because
and
they wanted
the government kept saying no because they knew why it was bad.
exactly because they wanted to get everybody behind a central bank. And I think what happened was
And our whole thing was like no. To
yeah.
that shit.
I can't remember when did the Federal Reserve start. I probably should have written this down. Let's see. When did the Federal Reserve start?
It is funny how much those like
1913. My bad.
those old politicians knew what was up
Yeah.
though. Because they weren't like politicians; they were just like leaders still at that point.
Yeah, they were just like
So like they were like, "Fuck off with
Yeah,
that shit." We're like,
we're not
when
doing this shit.
politics come around, those guys are like, "Talk to them about this fucking Federal
Yeah.
Reserve." What's
So it happened in 1913. So like apparently there was another recession or some shit happened where banks were going under and people weren't able to pull their money out of the banks. So people were just broke overnight, right? A bunch of people would hear like this bank is going to go under. So everybody would pull out their money because the money's backed by gold. There's only a finite amount of currency. Like the fucking bank goes under or shit like that happens. So some people were just getting fucked over. So I think the push for the Federal Reserve was like, hey, we'll back you guys. So if something happens, like these people aren't going to get fucked. Like we'll just give you some money.
yeah? And then you find out the Great Depression was fucking
Rigged by J.P. Morgan and all this other
wanted
bullshit.
to yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like
But so basically what happens
puppeteer.
exactly. So basically what happens is this is in simplest terms, this is how money's created. The Treasury prints bonds. Big banks buy the bonds, sell them to the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve holds the bonds and gives them cash. The big banks take the cash, they go back to the next Treasury auction, they buy more bonds. And they do this over and over and over again. And that's how the Treasury gets their cash.
But it's essentially just paperwork.
Yeah, everything is all, and especially now, it's all digital. 95% of the currency is digital. So it's like everything is just
This was like the original
stuff in numbers.
version of that.
Exactly. So everything is just numbers in a fucking computer, and this number goes up, and all this transaction does is raise our national debt, right? So our national debt keeps ticking away. So all these fucking morons, and they're like, well, when China asks for their money back, blah, 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 we're really going to be fucked. It's like, we're not, because we really don't. I mean, China might own a part of the debt because they belong to that bank or whatever the fuck, but they're not, like, they can't ask.
We didn't give them.
Yeah. All that is just a reflection of our currency. It's basically a reflection of, like, the inflation of, like, how much money we have and all this other bullshit. Right? So this happens over and over again. Money's created, right? The government then takes this money and they give them to government employees. They pay contractors. They pay corporations. They pay all these people, right? Those corporations, those people, they put the money in the banks where, step 4, the banks multiply it. So what the banks do, when a bank gets, so like you go to the bank, you put $100 in it, right? The banks are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. They can trade in the stock market. They can lend it to other people. They don't have to hold your money. So that's called fractional reserve lending. So there's a reserve rate with each bank. So say it's 10%. If you put $100 into a bank is allowed to loan out $90. So you put $100 in, I go to the bank and I need a loan for $90. They're going to give me $90 of your money. You check your account, it still says 100. It's because they put bank credit in there. It's like another IOU. So every time the bank does that and they trade your money, that's creating more currency. So 95% of the currency gets made in the banks because the banks keep multiplying it. So with a deposit of $100 with a 10% reserve ratio, it turns into 1,000.
Because when you come, so say one person has their account open at the bank and they put that $100 in. It's not like they can only lend that $90 once because they're expecting everyone they lend it to come bring it back.
Exactly.
So they can send
they deposit
that $90 that exists as $90 in the real world as cash. Now in the bank could be 10 different times $90.
Exactly. Because it turns into you deposit 100, they lend out 90. That guy takes 90, puts that in his bank to buy his thing, right? His account now says 90. the bank then lends out, what, $87 or whatever it is? That person puts that in their account?
Well, that has the exponential factor, too. I'm just saying that, like, it's not like they're literally taking $90 out of his account.
No, exactly.
And giving it to him.
I'm sorry.
So, like, there could be a line of people all looking for $90, and they just keep giving the same.
This is because it's all just numbers in a thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it just
you don't need to hand it to him, and it's like, oh, no, I don't have 90 to give you anymore.
No.
I gave it to that guy. It's like, sure, 90. Sure,
yes,
90.
A
sure,
check,
90.
$90. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, or either that or it's like digitally. It's like, cool, here's your digital money. Yeah, it's easy. And just from saying that, it's like, all that is just a teller pushing numbers in a fucking board, and boom.
That's a monkey.
More currency happens. That's a real monkey.
Yeah.
A sauce monkey.
A monkey suit.
Yes, exactly. So this is happening over and over again. So not only are they trading bonds to the Federal Reserve in exchange for cash using the big banks as middlemen.
What is the value of a bond, though? It's just us saying, like,
a bond.
Here's
so like,
something.
A bond is like, hey, we're gonna give you a bond for $1 million. In 10 years, that's gonna be worth 1.2 million or whatever. They like gain interest. So like, I got some bonds when I was a kid for like $200. They're worth like 280 now or some shit.
Yeah, I have those too. But I'm saying when they go to they give bonds to the Federal Reserve, like so money doesn't mean anything because it's just paper. But at one point, it was backed by gold.
Yes.
So I understand, like, the value of it. What's, like, the value of a bond? It's us
we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So basically what the Federal Reserve is doing, they're buying the nation's debt. So they're owning part of our debt, or majority of it, or however it works. But they basically own part of our debt. So as the banks are multiplying all the currency, there's more currency getting made, and all this shit happens. That's basically what inflation is. That's the expansion of currency. So as, like, for example, when they sent out all those stimulus checks and they flooded like the economy with all this money.
Which even our dumbasses at the time were like,
that doesn't seem like something you should do.
Where's the money coming from?
Yeah. And what happened? Look, the interest rates now are crazy. Inflation went up incredibly. And that's just because the currency expanded. There's more currency in circulation, therefore the buying power goes down, and then therefore all the products, like a sponge, soak up all this currency and they get more expensive because the dollar's not worth shit. So
one thing real quick just about that, because all those people, when that shit was going down, where everyone was like the type of person that was like freaking out and like, oh, I'm just so glad that, Christ.
Sorry.
That Biden gave me my fucking quarantine check, like all that shit.
I mean, it was cool.
It was cool, but it was also like clearly stupid. But then all the people that were like, oh my God, ha ha ha. If fucking Trump did it, in 2 seconds, they'd be like, obviously this isn't sustained. Like, all of a sudden they can be rational for that, but then they're fucking 7-year-old idiots too when they got like a fucking fat check and they're just like, oh my God.
I got $1,200.
Amazon shopping spree. I was also thinking about like,
those all dropped like on Prime Day. That'd be funny.
There's that. But like, I'd love to find some of these people, like our old boss, Emily, who like hate Trump and stuff. It's like, you get that's who you are, right? Like, you didn't get to your position of power and then like did everything right. Like, you used nepotism. You held grudges,
manipulated people.
Like, you didn't do things, but you didn't use your office to accomplish things. Like, you did what Trump did, and were selfish. You did what was best for you. Like,
you worked your way up.
These people that fucking tighten the chest all day thinking about like how much they hate that guy, and it's like, okay, just so you know, you weren't anywhere near the level he was at, and you crumbled under it. Like, you did everything he did at a weed store management position, let alone the presidency of the United States.
You fucking hog.
Yeah. Not saying he did anything good, but just, like, amazing to me that people want to, like, get that up in arms about it. It's like, all right, well, just so you know, you're the same person.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No, it's fucking crazy. I fucking hate these people. It's disgusting, actually.
Now, there's someone who knows about money.
That's someone who knows about money. Let's talk about him. Let's bring him up.
Wrong.
But, No, anyways, so what happens
I think
is
Trump's saying something that's not wrong because you like to hit Trump for things, and we don't want him saying wrong for like 90% of the things
we need other
you
shit.
say that for.
Well, that's the only thing I got.
That's my point.
We need more. You get so aggressive. No. So what happens is basically what we're saying is that the
Maybe I'm
money
excited. Do you ever think about that? Everyone thinks I'm angry. That's just how excited.
just excited. You're just a fucking vicious. I'm viciously excited.
Everyone's always like, "Why are you so mad?" I'm like, I was really in a good mood.
I was really happy today, man.
I was having a good time until you said that.
Fucking asshole.
I,
Throws something. Bashes someone. You're like Bam Bam from the Flintstones.
I wish. People like Bam Bam.
So, if the currency is all bullshit, right? If it's just numbers in a computer and it's
Post
getting
1913.
post 1913, right? The numbers, well, I guess post 19 whatever 60 something 70 something, whenever they took it off the gold standard, right? Because it used to be gold back. So
Oh, was that not the same thing?
no. So they started the Federal Reserve in 1913. They took
I always thought those happened at the same time.
when did we get off the gold standard?
70s.
1933.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's the thing I was thinking of when all the bankers came over then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When did we get off the gold standard? Yeah, 1933. Oh, here, finally abandoning the system in 1973. So yeah, the 70s.
Yeah.
The 70s. They got rid of the gold standard, which all people say when they're saying that is like that's the reason they can't print more money, or like they can't just print a shitload of money to fund some government bullshit or to like pay this corporation, because you can't, because it's backed by gold. Like, how much gold is in the vault?
We have X amount of dollars.
We have X amount of money. That's what keeps our currency whole. That's what keeps our currency fucking stable. And that's
how we became the global currency.
And that's the difference between currency and money, because a currency is like just like a bullshit number in a computer. Money is like a tangible, like this will hold value, like gold. Like if you have a gold coin, or if you find a shipwreck and you find like the lost treasure of Cortez, it's all gold, so it's fucking tangible. Or it's any bullshit like that.
People biting coins and
exactly, shit. Yeah. So all the money's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. But what do? We sell our time to corporations, right?
How would no one invest in like a thing to check?
Right.
Like a pair of pliers or something.
Yeah, like calipers or something.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Just all day.
Yeah. Gold. Gold.
You fucking
bust open your tooth. That's not gold. That's
or just how much fucking
gold does.
Germs are in your mouth.
That's true. Well, that's why they died early.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that guy's dead in a week.
Yeah. So we deposit. We sell our time to companies, right? We're basically slaves to these companies.
I consider myself a slave.
Yeah, we sell our time to these companies. The companies pay us money, right? We deposit the money in the bank, which then we know what that does. It multiplies and multiplies and multiplies, creating more currency. But every year, Mr. IRS comes, right? IRS, we give a portion of our money to the IRS in income tax. The IRS gives that to the Treasury, and the Treasury gives that money to the Federal Reserve to pay the interest on the bonds that they're holding, which is how our currency came into effect, right? So as the Treasury prints the bonds, this goes back to what you were saying earlier. The Treasury prints the bonds, the big banks sell them to the Fed. The Fed gives them money. They do this cycle over and over again. We work for a portion of that money. The IRS takes it, gives it to the Treasury. The Treasury gives the money right back to the Fed because they own the majority of our national debt, which every dollar that's came into existence is done through debt. So that's why with the introduction of like interest rates and shit, there's always more debt than there is currency. So in order to pay off the debt, we'd run out of currency. So like for every dollar that comes into existence, that's borrowed. And
because the first step of making money, because we don't make the money is the issue, right?
Yes, it's a debt-based currency.
We get money from a separate entity.
Yes.
So in order to receive any amount of dollars, we have to trade something, but we don't have money.
Exactly.
So we trade a bond, which is the promise of money in the future. So we like double debt.
Yes, exactly. So basically,
So then when we get that first money, we're not even because we double debted. So they're always one chunk ahead.
Exactly. Because we borrow $1, that dollar has interest, becomes $2. We only have that $1. Okay, so now we got to pay the interest back. What do? You borrow another $1, $4. Now we got $2. You pay that down, that goes down, and now there's still $2 left, but we're out of money. That's all.
Chopsticks.
Identical. Yeah. But exactly. So every dollar that comes into existence has been borrowed. So it's a debt-based currency is what they're saying.
As opposed to the gold standard where it's like, we have 100 pounds of gold, and we shall say that every pound of gold can be divided into $1,000, which means we have $100,000. Like,
yes, exactly.
There's no debt there. You're saying, like, we have this, we'll represent it with this money, even Stevens.
Exactly. And I didn't know this. There was no need for income tax before the establishment of the Federal Reserve.
Was there other tax, like sales tax and stuff, but not income tax?
I don't know if there was probably sales tax, I would assume, because that has to, I'm sure there's some like municipal shit you have to do with sales tax. But the whole thing for income tax is that just pays back the Federal Reserve. That's why we pay income tax. That's why we pay like, I think they just lifted it like in the 90s or some shit. But there was like a telephone tax.
Yeah.
Where like you had to pay that shit. And that was just paying back the Federal Reserve and these international bankers and all these people that own parts of our national debt because our debt is just a representation of our currency and like how much shit we're making. That's why the debt ceiling's bullshit. When they all complain and they're all like, oh, we're approaching the debt ceiling, the government's going to close down. It's like, no shit, the government's going to close down because it's fucking teetering on this financial system that is bound to collapse. But all they do is like Biden just signed the thing that all they do is just kick the can further down the road because he signed like a thing to like postpone dealing with the debt ceiling until 2024. Okay, that's the next guy in office, right? So it didn't. I'm good.
Good job.
Hey, it's not under my watch. It'll be under him. He's fucked. Or 2025, whatever it is. And then what's crazy is that I heard another article that the Fed was saying that interest rates are going to drop in 2026. So if they're fixing the debt ceiling in 2025, and if interest rates are supposed to drop again in 2026, does that just mean that the debt ceiling is, if that's how much money we can create, and inflation is an expansion of currency, right? And inflation is high right now. That means there's a lot of money that we have, and we're approaching this maximum that we have. Therefore, the interest rates are really high, so people can't fucking borrow more money, so we can't print more money. Once they raise the debt ceiling, it's like, oh shit. You're like a lobster who shed its shell. You're like, oh fuck, I got fucking room now.
Lobsters do that?
Yeah, that's how lobsters grow. Right?
Okay.
Maybe it's a crab.
Hermit crab.
Well, hermit crab, yeah, will leave a shell, but a lobster will shed its like exoskeleton and get really mushy, and they grow a new one.
Oh yeah, they grow a new. Yeah. They molt.
Molt. Yes, exactly. A crustacean.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting. They're delicious. But
you like lobster?
I like lobster. I like seafood. I like a lot of seafood. Yeah, I like that. But I thought the other day if the debt ceiling is how much money we can print and inflation is a representation of the expansion of the currency and how much currency we have, and interest rates are high so people can't borrow because they don't want people to borrow a lot of money because there's too much currency because we're approaching the debt ceiling. Once they raise the debt ceiling, they go, shit, we got room. Let's drop interest rates and print some more fucking money.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like
that's all it is.
But the original thing, it's like when you start this system, it's not sustainable. Like the wheels fall off this thing eventually. So you'd think you'd like handle it with the most utmost care to ensure like the most longevity out of it, but then they like accelerate every bad thing about it by doing like the stimulus checks and shit.
You know why?
Well, because
this is on the Federal Reserve's website. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation, right? Federal Reserve has stockholders, right? This is on their website. After all necessary expenses of the Federal Reserve Bank have been paid or provided for, the stockholders of the bank shall be entitled to receive an annual dividend of 6% paid in capital stock.
So they
The
get
shareholders,
6%
the shareholders,
dividends of
the national debt, I believe. So however many bonds or however much shit like the Federal Reserve has, which is basically because they own a lot of our national debt.
Did the expenses ever get paid? I thought, because doesn't that mean that we'd be out of debt?
It just means paying their employees. Like whenever the Federal Reserve pays their employees, balances the books, and everything's kosher on their end, because they're just a corporation. They're not the government entity. They don't owe money to fucking anybody. The government owes them. You know what I mean? So once they pay all their people and all that shit, the stockholders gets a 6% dividend off the top. So this entire system is done.
But of what?
I believe it's of the national debt. So all of those trillions of dollars.
But where's that come from?
They just print it. Or when they get money from the...
But then wouldn't it not even have that value then? Because then by the means of printing it, because that's a big ass number.
It's either from when the Treasury pays the Fed back for the with the income tax. They probably get money off the top of that.
Well, that's what I thought it said at first, was that you get 6% of whatever's left over from taxes.
That's probably what it is then. Yeah, that would make more sense.
First time.
That would make more sense.
Because if that's how the income tax is for to pay the debt or whatever,
Yeah.
so it's like, yeah, obviously they're not going to be able to like get it exactly right, and obviously you're going to overshoot it instead of undershoot it.
Yeah,
and then it's not like,
isn't that crazy?
It's not like, since it is the government, you can just fold it into something else. It's like, no, like we paid everyone and we still have money. So like,
and listen to this. So when the stocks, when the Federal Reserve was started in 1913, the stocks were given to the biggest banks at the time, right? So
real quick, did you say the trains from him were leaving at the 55s?
55s. Yeah, LaSalle Street Station would be his.
Cool.
The Metro.
Go ahead.
So when the Federal Reserve started in 1913, they gave the stockholders to the biggest banks at the time. So like your J.P. Morgan, your Rothschild, like the biggest fucking banks, which are most likely the same banks that are allowed at the Treasury auctions. So basically just this dude. It's the same banks, right? So those same banks are probably...
You know what that's like? Yeah, I put that in terms I can understand. That's like when Jamie Graham would go at the comic book conventions to all the other old head dealers, and they would trade the same books back and forth at each other. It's like if someone just walked up and looked in, you'd think like, oh, they're making a deal. But then like if you did a study of them and you're like, you guys trade the same books to each other like every so often. And
Why?
it's just because like as books rise and fall in popularity, everyone's trying to fuck each other over for like the best deal. And so they're trying to like unload the stuff that's not hot right now for something that is hot, but then if they can't sell it for the price they want and then the heat dies off of it, now they got to so it's just fucking old men trying to be like the best business guy,
Really?
But that's what it's fucking three people circle jerking each other.
Literally.
If when you're in school and you flip through in the textbook, you're like, yeah, money. And then the second you like stare at it for a minute, you're like, you guys are just passing the same, like,
because if you think about it,
how are you trading them that for money?
Because if you think about it, it's really this. That's really all it is. It's just like, yes, you give us bonds, we give you currency. And then with the currency you give us back for having the bonds.
Well, because it is this, but they just need to present as that.
Because you can't have a monopoly or whatever the fuck it is. Exactly. Because the people
behind
that are
closed doors is that.
Because the middlemen are the ones actually getting paid for the money that
you're skimming. You got
exactly
something for your trouble.
You need a little skim. A skim. You're just skimming the skim. It's like in it's like in casino when like the fat every single week a fat bastard comes into the back and they skim a little bit off the top. No one says it. No one says a thing.
Everyone thinks that they're gonna go unnoticed.
This is the actual step-by-step thing. This is all in a nice, concise 25-minute documentary on Tubi. It's on the next slide. I'll explain it to you. But just a quick recap for the people. You can see step 1, step 2. Step 1, government creates glorified IOUs. That's the bonds, right? That's the Treasury. That's all that shit. They get swapped at the big banks. Big banks give them to the Fed. The Fed gives them currency. The banks give the currency back to the Treasury because they're buying more bonds to give back to the Fed, to get currency, to give back to the Treasury, right?
It took me a minute to get from 2 to 3. That was a crazy era.
I'm actually lost right now, to be honest with you. Oh, here it is.
Treasury takes you down and
Yes.
a loop through this guy.
Yes, exactly. So now we're back
'Cause
up.
I think step 7 is that purple one,
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
that blue one there.
So the government spends the money by giving it to contractors and government employees and all that shit. They deposit the money in the banks. The banks multiply the currency because that's just what the banks do, which is basically just these people. Same fucking thing. They're just, so basically this right here is loaning money and then they're just multiplying it over and over again. Like this is just for show. Like, hey guys, yes,
That's what I'm saying. You just
I'm
got to
the
present
middleman.
like this, but
Yes.
they're...
But in reality, 95% of the currency is made just in the banks by some teller behind the counter who doesn't know what the fuck is happening. They've just been taught like, no. You type this in the thing, that goes into their account, and then everything's fine. Everything's good. So they're doing that. We then...
Yeah, they walk in the same way people walk into they're like, wow, that's a lot of weed in the vault. And so they walk in, they're like, oh my God, that's so much money. It's like, but it ain't enough money.
It ain't enough money.
It ain't enough money to match what's on everybody's computer screen right
Exactly. Then we work for a portion of that money that's been created over and over again, multiplied. The IRS comes in, takes a portion of our money, gives it to the Treasury. The Treasury then gives the money back to the Federal Reserve because they own all of the bonds. The Federal Reserve then pays its owners, which are basically just the banks. And I believe, what's that say? They get profits on debt, profits on reserves, and profits on ownership. They're making money 3 ways on this shit. 3 fucking ways.
It's so like
Because
clearly a bad idea though, where like just that initial step is so like unnatural, where it's like, so you're gonna give me $100. They're like, sure, and it's like, and you're just accepting that. Yeah, I'll pay you back or whatever, and they're like, sure. I mean, I guess they have it where like they'll ruin your fucking.
That's where credit comes into play. Where it's like, oh no, you have shit credit. But then they're doing shit now. Like I heard them saying, for buying a house, if you have good credit, you're gonna get a higher interest rate. If you have low credit, you're gonna get a lower interest rate.
Yeah, but
which should be opposite
by logic. Yes, but I don't know enough about that situation.
Do you know why they're doing it?
Well, I was gonna speculate maybe it's just a play because the people with worse credit. I don't know if that's just how you get people to vote. Like, if you already know rich people aren't, like...
It's to offset... The people with better credit are obviously more likely to pay their bills. Therefore, they pay more money to offset the cost of the people with bad credit that aren't going to pay their bills.
Well, it's like insurance, right?
That's all it is. It's insurance. Yeah. But if the money doesn't matter, what are we doing? Why are we busting our fucking ass every fucking week?
Just to
go into a job that I fucking hate for some bullshit when it's all just fake and it's all made up and it's all fucking just bullshit. That's the documentary, the biggest scam in the history of mankind. Check it out. It's on Tubi.
One of them.
It's fucking great. But isn't that some bullshit? Doesn't that fucking really chap your ass?
Yeah, like all the shit does.
I don't know, it's just so upsetting. It's like the fuck are we doing?
That's what I'm saying, bro. You buy a house, you think you fucking own something, and then you're like, oh, yeah, but, like, if I don't... Obviously, you got to pay your mortgage because someone lent you money. And you're paying
but then that
just
goes into, like, the Charles thing of, like, is the house already paid for? Because if the books have to be balanced...
The property taxes is the thing that just kills me.
Property taxes, closing costs.
Yeah.
Fucking... Dude, my mom was looking up, to sell a house in Joliet, you have to pay a minimum... They're going to have to pay $20-something thousand because to move out of Joliet, you got to pay them like 10 grand.
What?
Yeah, to move, there's all these fucking fees to sell your house. Because if you're going to leave the city, you have to pay them money.
How?
I don't fucking know. It's how it is.
That seems crazy.
It's fucking wild. Isn't that disgusting?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't either until recently. But yeah, to sell your house, like, I guess my parents had to do that when they moved out of Burbank. You have to pay so much to this, like the city, because you're moving out of the city. Or because you're moving from that house or some shit. They got to transfer some. I don't know.
Do they do that to shitty people, or are they just like, no, you're cool, you can get out?
I think that's just what closing cost. I think it's just built into the cost. It's like, oh yeah. Oh, you're selling your house? Okay, well now you owe $125,000 in your house, right? You sell your house for $200,000. You make $75,000. No, you have to, because you have to pay off your mortgage. So that's that $125,000. You also have to pay all those fucking fees. You got to pay the real estate agent. You got to pay the closing costs. You got to pay all this shit to even sell your house. So you're fucking leaving with like $50,000.
How do people flip houses?
You buy them low.
Yeah, but if you're
Buy a shithole.
Yeah, but if you gotta burn $10K, I mean, isn't that gonna be?
But I mean, if you buy a house, like if you buy a house at auction, like that one shithole I was showing you that was like just gross on the inside. That thing sold at auction for I think like $80,000 or something. So you buy it for $80,000. The market's so inflated right now. You put
but people have been flipping houses for a long time before the
market
market got all crazy. I'm just
but
saying.
Still, I mean, like if you just got to buy a piece of shit.
Yeah, but some people don't do overhaul flips. They just do like, let me fucking get this thing and
I know what you're saying.
Tune it up.
I'll put in some countertops. I'll do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, like I can't imagine they're making enough to where they can just eat 10,000. Like,
you're probably making a few thousand, or like, I remember I worked with this. I worked for a contractor who was flipping houses, and he worked for a company who the company would buy the houses, or they do those. You pay the back taxes. That shit Charles is talking about. Remember that?
That's how you get them low, yeah.
Yeah, where like you pay the back taxes and they have to pay you back in a certain amount of time. Or if the house is just vacant, you pay the back taxes and the bank goes, cool, here it is. Take the fucking thing.
Because that's like pre-foreclosure, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's like a short. Is that a short sale? No.
No, I think that's similar to a foreclosure. Maybe that's when the people are selling it because they know it's going to go into foreclosure. But that thing is like, you're like doing it, you're getting like a head start on it by going to that website.
And that's, in this state, I guess they put a lien on your house. So like you pay someone back taxes, they don't pay you back. They put a lien on your house and they got to leave in so many days. I think that's how you get squatters, right?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what Frank did in Sunny. Like,
really?
I forget if he bought it from the bank because the people foreclosed already, so that he just bought it from the bank, or if he did something like that website. That's why I'm unsure. Like, it feels like it's the same thing. It's just kind of like at what point it's happening. Did the bank tell them you need to leave already, or are you getting the jump and being like, I'll tell them to go leave?
Hey, I'll let them know. Don't worry about it. No, and I know there's also some states where if you pay the back taxes, they give you the deed. You just get the house.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Because at that point, you get a house for what? $6,000? $7,000? How much is back tax? $10,000?
Yeah.
At most? Make some good money. You make some good money doing that shit.
Yeah, it's got to be a rough time at night, though. When you're like, I wonder what that family's up to.
Yeah, when you're like, nah, fuck them.
Some of them probably, but some of them
you're probably like, fuck. When like they're begging you, and you're like,
well, some of them were probably just doing it until this happened, and then they're like, I'll find another house. And other people were like,
I have nowhere to go.
Yeah, they're like,
no, my son diabetes. Isn't that crazy? You know what else is crazy? The Fed wants to move to 100% digital currency with that new transfer software, the Fed Now. That's scary. We're basically already a digital currency. And if we move over to a digital currency, what's stopping them from just fucking going, well, we need a few more billion. I mean, they're already doing it now, but I don't know. It's weird. I don't like that. You know, they could just fucking freeze whatever bullshit you want. Like, oh, well, you're a threat. We're going to freeze you. We're going to do this. What if you have cash at home? I like to have cash on hand. I got cash.
That's what I'm saying.
I got cash in the house. You got till the end of the year to bring the rest of your cash to the bank so we can get it accounted for, and then we will transfer you all of your funds. The fuck is that? Now what? Now I got to go buy gold
and hope that someone nukes us.
That's what I mean. Like, the fuck is that? We got to get off this monetary system. We got to step away from money. And just let AI fucking do our work. I had this thought since I was little. I was like, how can we even work for... What's the point of money? Just say everybody needs a job, right? Everybody has to do a job, something they like, maybe 4 days a week, right?
Well, because people aren't supposed to live in cities. They're supposed to live in villages where everyone has a task. So then, like, your job
is supplying to the city, to the village.
Is something that the other person would have to pay for, and then they do something for you that you would have had to pay for. So everyone...
That's what I want to fucking live in, man. I play these games. I play like Stardew Valley. I play all these like farming. I play these games where like you sit and you just fucking build up your like your base, your compound. And you just fucking live. Why can't we do that shit? Let's go buy land in Alaska.
How about fucking no?
How about some good desert property?
They got those, I like those houses they build into, like, the side of hills.
Yeah, those are nice. I like those.
Especially, like, in the desert, and they put that tube in, so then it can, like, air condition your house just by, like, the underground temperature.
Yeah.
I like all that shit.
A mountain home where it's, like, carved in, like all the walls are, like, rounded off. Where it's like carved through a mountain. Yeah, I like that shit. Yeah. Well, that's money, people. Next week we'll have something else. We're trying to prep here. Zach's prepping next week. What do you got for us?
Probably not. Unless I can get something going over the weekend. Because he leaves Friday.
Nice. You work Friday?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, shit.
I'll check.
Well, we've been on an hour. You fuckers take care.
Yes.